So how do you become effortlessly disciplined? How do you force yourself to do the things that you need to do regardless of how you feel? Just a couple years ago, I hit a really low point in my life. I was completely miserable, depressed, and I even had some form of social anxiety. I looked at those people getting up at 5 a.m., crushing 10-hour workdays, going for a run every day in the empty streets, and I wondered, how do they have such discipline? How do they manage to do it all? Fast forward a couple years later, I've been able to build a profitable online business, and I no longer struggle to be disciplined. In fact, it became my routine now. And that is exactly why in this video, I want to share with you how you too can become effortlessly disciplined. Because I can guarantee one thing right now. It's that if back then I had known everything that I know now about discipline, about focus, about work, about perseverance, I would have been able to get where I am today 1,000 times faster. So that's the present I'm offering to you today. You can take all that valuable advice, learn from all the lessons that I personally learned over the years, and move forward and make progress a lot faster. The first thing to become effortlessly disciplined is to know exactly why you're doing things. And I'm not just speaking about having goals, because a lot of people have so-called goals, but in reality their goals are simply wishes. Every single year for the New Year's, people throw around a bunch of wishes. They say they're going to get in shape, make more money, find a long-term relationship, but those are wishes, not goals. If you ask most people, would you like to make more money? Would you like to be fit? Would you like a loving, caring partner? Most people would say, yes, absolutely, I want that. But saying I want to get in shape is not a goal. Saying I'm going to lose 20 pounds in the next 4 months, that is a goal. Saying I want to make more money, that's not a goal. It's a lofty dream. You wish it would be true, but you're not going to go out of your way to make it happen. Now on the other hand, if you said I'm going to make $1 million per year after tax before I turn 30 years old, that is a goal. Because when your goal is very vague, when it's in reality a wish, you're not allowing your brain, your subconscious mind, to come up with the right strategy to help you to reach your goal. Now the real reason why most people procrastinate, it's not because something is wrong with them, because they're broken somehow, because they don't have any willpower, because they're just lazy individuals. The only reason why you procrastinate is because you're not emotionally connected to a strong enough reason to take action. That's it. Think about this. If your own child was trapped in a burning house, would you procrastinate saving them? Would you need some extra motivation? Of course not. You would do anything you can to make them survive, because that would be a tragic loss otherwise. It's like when people are in love. They would go so much further for the person that they love, even if the feelings are not reciprocated, than they would for themselves. The reason why you procrastinate is also the same reason why plenty of people talk but never take action. They say they're going to change their lives, turn their lives around, start going to the gym every day, get in shape, lose those 20 pounds they've been wanting to lose forever, make more money, get a raise, start a business, go out and be more social, speak to more people, find a long-term relationship. Yet if you look at those same people, year after year, they still have the same goals and they didn't make any progress whatsoever. Now you may wonder, well, how come this happens? Are they just lazy? Do they not want it as badly as they claim they do? The thing is, their situation is not uncomfortable enough for them to change. And that is why oftentimes we tolerate mediocre situations, because they're not painful enough to force us to change. There's a quote that goes, change only happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Because understand this, as human beings, we are programmed literally to run away from pain as far as we can. That is how our ancestors managed to survive. And that is the reason why you and I are here today. So least to say that this programming has served us in the past, but in the modern world, oftentimes it will do us more harm than good. And if you don't believe me, picture this. You go to the kitchen, you want to make yourself some food, but you make a mistake. You put your hand on the stove and you burn yourself. Are you going to keep your hand on the stove for 10 minutes? Of course not. As soon as you start to feel the burn, you're going to remove your hand immediately. This type of reaction is programmed in our DNA, again, to help us to survive in nature. So you change the situation. You remove your hand from the hot stove because it's way too uncomfortable. The pain is beyond tolerable. So that is the same reason why most people struggle forever to become disciplined. Because the truth is, they might have those big goals, those big dreams, but as long as they keep tolerating the current circumstances that they have, because they're not painful enough, let's face it, they won't do anything. There's something called loss aversion. It means that oftentimes we'll do a lot more to avoid a painful outcome than we would do to gain a positive outcome. To give you an example, if I tell you, unless you work 12 hours a day, no breaks, no rest, no respite, for 30 days straight, you will lose your home. You'll go bankrupt. This means you'll have to go live in the street. You'll have nothing to eat. How hard are you going to work to prevent this from happening? Chances are really hard, because you don't want that to happen. It's a terrible outcome. However, if I told you, if you work 12 hours a day for 30 days straight and you'll make an extra $1,000, are you going to do it? How many people will agree, realistically speaking? Yet if I asked you, would you be happy if somebody gave you $1,000? You'd pretty much say yes. Who would say no to free money? So that really goes to show you do, we would do a lot more to avoid pain than we would to gain a positive. That brings me to the other thing which will help you to become effortlessly disciplined. It's having an anti-vision. A vision is basically exactly what you want out of life. It can be living in a specific city, the city of your dreams, and buy your dream home. It can be obtaining a special job in a specific corporation. It could be starting your own online business, becoming free, making as much money as you want, being able to travel the world, never having to worry about the price tag of things. Or it could be finding the love of your life. The anti-vision is the exact opposite of your vision. It's all of the things you absolutely don't want to happen in your life, but it's also all of the things that are likely to happen if you don't do the work. So to define your anti-vision, grab a pen, a piece of paper, and ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario if I don't take action, if I keep procrastinating? If you don't complete an important work project, you could get fired. If you don't work on your business consistently, the quality of your life is going to keep getting worse year after year. For me, I started a business because I knew I didn't want to have a boss who doesn't care about me, paying me as little money as they can and keeping everything to themselves, treating me like garbage all day long, working all of my life just to pay 70+% taxes, get a mortgage, have no freedom, 2 weeks of vacations per year, really, have to ask for permission for those vacations, and have to constantly worry about the price of things. I knew I wanted a better life than that, and that is why I decided to start my own online business. Of course I wanted the nice things too, the Ferraris, the nice houses, but I was a lot more motivated by avoiding all of that pain, all of the negative outcomes that would come if I didn't start my business, if I didn't get out of the hell that I was in. If you want to start your own online business, you have no clue what to do. I've recorded a free guide in which I'm analyzing every popular online business model. Together we'll be taking a look at the pros, at the cons, and I'm also going to share with you, again for completely free, the 3-step process that you can use to get your first customers as quickly as possible. I'll leave the link in the description below. Now, a game changer to become effortlessly disciplined, it's to break down your big goals into smaller goals, milestones. If you're like me, you're very ambitious, you've got big goals. It can be very discouraging to look at those big goals because now you're so far away from them. And so you think it's gonna take forever to get what I want. Will I even have the strength to go through everything I'm gonna need to go through to get that big outcome? Because the more ambitious you are, the more you want out of life, the longer you need to work, the harder you need to work, and the more you'll need to sacrifice. The people at the top of their fields, the people you respect the most, they go all in. And that is especially true in business and in sports. Those are probably the most competitive fields in life. Michael Jordan would not be where he is today if he didn't have that relentlessness in him, that ability to shut out all noises, all distractions, and focus on getting better. And that is why people admire him, because he's been able to achieve the extraordinary time and time again. That may be the harsh reality of the world, but people only care to learn your story when you become a winner. Nobody cares about what happens to losers. So you should set big goals, of course. You should know exactly what you want out of life. Now keep in mind, it might evolve over time. What you wanted a year ago might be different than what you want today. And in that same spirit, what you want right now, it might change in the future. But what I've personally noticed is that whenever my goals changed, they still followed along the same line. It's not like all of a sudden I wanted something else entirely. It's just that the path that you take to reach your goals, it might be a lot more different than what you imagined. So be very flexible when it comes to which path will help you to reach your goal. Because at the end of the day, do you really care how you reach your goal? As long as the process is something that you can enjoy and that doesn't compromise your ethics or your values, I would say no. What matters is getting what I want, the outcome. For some people, it can be traveling the world, making millions of dollars, while for others, it's going to be making $10,000 a month, having a long-term committed relationship. Did you know that some human beings have eaten entire airplanes? I kid you not. If you don't believe me, Google it. Now you may wonder, how could they do this? How can you eat an entire airplane? That thing is massive. They didn't do it all at once. They turned the components of the airplane, like the seats, the wings, everything, into a small fine powder. And then every time they ate a meal, they would spray some of that powder on what they were eating. And over the course of years, decades, that's how they managed to eat an entire plane. Now obviously I'm not suggesting that you do something like that because I don't really see what's the positive outcome out of eating a plane. But what this shows you is that something which seems impossible to do because the task is way too complex, it's way too big. If you break it down into smaller goals, smaller actions, now pretty much anything becomes possible. Success happens one step at a time. Even when thousands of slaves built pyramids in Egypt, they did it one brick at a time. Back then, to build a pyramid or a castle, it would take years. It wouldn't happen overnight. And that is why I personally like to set long-term goals for like the next 5 to 10 years. They don't have to be extremely specific. They can stay somewhat vague, but at least I know where I'm going. You need to have a direction in life. If you don't, it's kind of like going to the airport, hopping on a random plane, and then when you land, you end up in a country that you hate and you don't want to stay here. So if you don't know where to go, the flow of life will take take you wherever it wants to take you, but more often than not, you'll end up extremely disappointed. So what I do is I break down that huge goal into a yearly goal and then a monthly, even weekly goal. Now the next thing, which will turn you into a self-disciplined master, it's to have a why bigger than just yourself. I'll give you an example. If you start a business to get a Ferrari, okay, that's a nice idea. It might motivate you for a while, but when you're feeling sick, you're feeling tired, you're not getting the results that you want because the road happens to be harder, tougher than what you had imagined in the first place. Now you're more likely to quit because you think, a Ferrari is nice, but I'm never gonna get there. You'll be extremely disappointed. However, if your reason for starting a business is to provide for your family, you can't quit, can you? Because if you quit, you let them down. And that is why typically, if you want to have a strong reason why you're doing things, why you get out of bed, and why you work so hard every day, you want to make it bigger than just yourself. And the best way I've found to do that is to link that reason why to a person or to a group of people that you love, that you don't want to let down. Like I said earlier, people when they fall in love, they would do so much more for the person that they love than they would for themselves. And the worst part about it is that this is even true when the person that they love doesn't reciprocate their feelings. Now finally, the true game changer to make yourself effortlessly disciplined is to make the activity or the process as fun and as enjoyable as possible. Let's say that two people decide to go to the gym. One hates the workout plan that they're following, while the other completely loves it and wants to keep doing it. When the session is ending, he's feeling a bit disappointed. He wants to do more, but he stops here. He knows, okay, the next day I'm going to do a workout again. So he's excited for it. While the other guy, he's dreading his next workout. He doesn't want to do it. Both those guys have the same goals. They want to get in shape, build more muscle. Now let me ask you a question. Who is more likely to quit? And who is more likely to keep going? I think you know the answer. Plenty of studies have shown time and time again that the people who enjoy an activity, who enjoy the process, they get far better results and they achieve so much more than the people who solely do an activity for the outcome, because they drag their feet throughout the entire process. If you hate something, you absolutely despise it. It's only a matter of time before you can't do it anymore. That is what happened to me with school. I hated school. I couldn't even get out of the car to go to the classroom. That's how bad it got. So ask yourself, how can I make the activities necessary for me to do to reach my goals as fun and as enjoyable as possible? For instance, if you don't like writing, but you have to do some kind of copywriting task, listen to a song without lyrics that you enjoy, a beat that puts you in the mood. That's what I personally do. I like writing, but on some days, I'm not feeling motivated to do it. But because I listen to my special binaural beats playlist for writing, now I get in the flow of doing it a lot more easily. So with everything we covered in this video, everyone is going to wonder how the hell you're able to stay so damn disciplined.